Hey, what's up guys? Missy here back again with another video, and today I am finally bringing you an updated version of my guide for Rampart. My most popular video on this channel was my first Rampart guide, and the positive reception really overwhelmed me. I was really surprised, and I appreciate it greatly. But it's been quite some time since that guide, so I figured I would do an updated guide with some more details that I didn't put into that first guide, as well as just to upgrade or update on the meta and what I would suggest when it comes to weaponry for Rampart. So please leave a like, pop a sub, comment down below. It really helps out small channels like mine because it's very hard to grow on Apex content. So I appreciate you guys taking the chance on this video. Now let's get right into it. Now with Rampart, she has a passive that gives you more bullets in an LMG, as well as a quicker reload with LMGs. Now, what is more impactful in my opinion is the faster reload. LMGs already had a ton of bullets in a mag to begin with, so that's kind of just a bonus perk or a bonus cherry on top, but the reload is what's crazy. So I'm gonna shoot one bullet. Look how quick that reload is, and it feels almost twice as fast as other legends. I don't know the specifics of it, but all I know is when I'm playing another legend and I'm using an LMG, LMGs just feel gross because I'm so used to that reload speed of Rampart. So feel free to abuse LMGs, but they're not very good in the current meta. Check the date of this video. I would suggest you guys pick up a Rampage or an L-Star if you want to run an LMG. I would avoid the Spitfire. The Spitfire still is decent, but I find the time to kill to still be worse. So if you have a spun up or thermited Rampage, it's really good, especially off drop. Or the L-Star has always been kind of a sleeper pick in my opinion, especially with the weirdly good hipfire sometimes. So those are the guns I would shoot for if you want to rock LMGs and get the most out of Rampart's perk. Now we're going to be going on to her tactical, which is her amped walls. Now this is how long it takes for an amped wall to pop up. As soon as that top part, the little shielded part, pops up, it has full health, it's fully set up, everything. Now Rampart's tactical is the only tactical in the game from any legend that you can shoot through while also being protected by it. Now this is huge. When these walls are up, they give you such an advantage over opponents, especially opponents that are medium range away from you. You can completely destroy people and catch them off guard with an amped wall because they have to bust through this top shield, which takes that long. So they basically have to spend most of their clip just busting off the wall. Then they have to reload or switch to a different weapon and go for you again. But this bottom half takes a ton of hits before it actually destroys. So you're pretty much, as long as you got your wall down, it has reduced health in this state. It's a lot easier to destroy it before it's fully set up. But if it's fully up, just know that this bottom half is probably going to stay there regardless of what happens during a fight. So always be able to kind of crouch behind as you're shooting opponents and then just kind of peek down, and be aware that this top part will get shot out way more than the bottom part. Now when you're down here, if your opponent has height on you, obviously they're still going to be able to shoot you from behind this, so be careful with that. But if they only have a tiny bit of height on you, or they're on the same level of you, then you are able to kind of hide behind this, but you can still be shot. Now, here is a huge tip. If you are very desperate and you barely have any health left, you need to look straight down and pop your shields. That makes you completely hidden if they're on the same level as you, or if they have a slight height on you, you still are hidden that way. So if you're in a desperate time, you need to pop your heals looking down at the ground so that they can't hit you. Now, only if you're desperate. Most of the time, I would highly suggest that you guys are healing and kind of taking a peek and witnessing what your opponent is doing, because that's huge and you want to react off of that or predict what they're going to do next. So only in desperate times do you heal looking down at the ground. Shout out to Gaming Merchant. He's the one who actually helped me realize that a while back. Now, with these walls, you do not want to be the classic, stereotypical Rampart who's holed up in a building and just sitting in her little box, camping out, because that is not how Apex Legends should be played, and you are not utilizing Rampart the best way that you can see fit. The best way you can use her walls is aggressively when you're not in a building. So you place a wall, and then you place a wall, you kind of assess the situation, and then you want to push your opponent, place a wall, push your opponent, and this is if they're not already shooting at you. you want to kind of stagger them out and use them as points of interest to move your team between, especially if, say, you pushing them and you get cracked really hard, you have a point to go back to or a point of safety to reset. So you want to play aggressively, place your walls aggressively. Now, if you're indoors, it's a completely different story. Indoors, Rampart is insane. This is where she thrives. Now, say this is a door, you can block the door with your wall, and they have to kick down the wall, and then they have to mantle over your wall, which makes them vulnerable to gunfire, especially if they're still on the other side of your shield. So you want to block up walls. You can also space out multiple walls in a row in order to kind of stagger your opponent as they're going through. It kind of like staggers them and makes them kind of bounce a little bit, and it kind of messes them up, especially if they went in without their weapon out. You see this in gameplays all the time on my channel, where sometimes I have to double or triple up in ranked or something, and it staggers them up, it messes them up, and then you have 3 walls that you can shoot them through, and people will still push you. People underestimate ramparts all the time. They automatically think you suck, so make them pay for it, and this is an easy way to do so. But I would highly suggest you only do this in ranked or in final circles. Always play Rampart aggressively. You don't just want to camp in buildings all the time, because you're not utilizing her the best. Now, another thing with her walls, keep in mind, when people see a wall, they're going to see that kind of red shield thing, and they're just going to shoot at it, man. These are almost like a mirage decoy or a mirage hologram. You place these down, people are automatically going to assume you're behind it, especially if they're farther away and they can't really tell if you're behind it. So keep that in mind. You don't always have to be sitting behind Rampart's walls and utilizing it. You can use those almost as a distraction and shoot them from a different angle. And even then, if you're shooting them through a different angle, you can get the amped damage by just shooting through your wall from a different angle. You don't always have to be directly behind it. You can always kind of manipulate, have different angles from behind your walls. It'll help you out greatly. If you want to see a movement guide when it comes to Rampart specifically, you can super glide off of this and all of that jazz and use movement off of this with this mantle. You see that mantle? Timing is everything. Right when you mantle to the top, you can super glide and jump off of it and utilize it in movement tech. So I will keep that for another video. So if you guys want an update on that, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, I'm going to use this. Please leave a like, pop a sub, comment. It really helps me out. And feel free to watch any of my Rampart gameplays on this channel. You're going to see me utilize a lot of these tips in real time, and there's plenty of examples on my channel of it. Now let's get on to her ultimate. Now this is Sheila. I think this is what is the most broken thing about Rampart and what makes her so fun, especially in pubs. Now with Sheila, you can carry her around. It does slow you down, but not at all as much as I thought it would. When they first buffed her, I was like, are they insane? Sheila is actually really good, especially in certain situations, but I think she's good at all times. So this is what you're mostly going to be using. I find myself using walls less and less unless I'm indoors, but with Sheila, you're going to be using her all the time. So we're going to go into the times that you should be utilizing Sheila. Now, the times you should be utilizing Sheila is medium to long range engagements. If this is the person right here, never use it this close. This is going to get you killed almost every single time unless the player is trash. Sheila is deceivingly accurate, man. If you use this, the longer she's spun up, the more accurate she gets. It's insane. And sorry for the non-warmed up aim. I apologize. But long range, this is crazy accurate. You can also toggle the zoom to get this out for more heightened accuracy. I use this for long range. And for medium range, I use this most of the time. And the more you shoot, the more concentrated it gets. And you can pick people off from insane ranges. Again, check out any of my Rampart videos. You're going to see me just melting people. This is super integral in ranked, especially because it allows you to get that super easy knock and your teams can push. And in pubs, you're going to be getting knocks all the time. People underestimate Sheila all the time. Now, here is my #1 pet peeve when I see Ramparts, and I rarely see Ramparts actually doing this. Now, there is a laser associated with Rampart when you have it fully spun up. This laser is like infinite. You can see it pretty much anywhere, and it warns your opponents that there is a ramped up Sheila. Do not push them. Now, you need to get in the habit of hiding this on a surface close to you so that your opponent doesn't see it. So there's my opponent. I always want to use my peripheral to see where my opponent is. Or let's use that one because that's more of a distance that you'd be using Sheila. You want to use this and have it spun up and then pop on him. You never want to just have it sitting out there waiting because people are going to take cover and they're not going to push you anymore. You want them to push you, and you want them to be out in the open, and this is how you do that. You hide the laser each and every time. If you're not hiding the laser, then you are not getting the most out of Sheila. Now, you can also bust down doors. Now, pretend this is a door. You can just literally spin it up, shoot through the door. People love hiding and healing behind doors and holding doors, even if they see that you're Rampart, which I don't understand. But even if they don't see that you're Rampart, you can get free kills by destroying walls. Destroying doors, especially in this Catalyst meta. Again, check the date of this video. Catalyst people will always be sitting behind Catalyst walls or reinforced doors or Catalyst doors, and you can get free kills off of that too. Huge in ranked, huge in pubs, and allows you to keep the aggression and keep pushing, which is awesome. Now, as an added measure of precaution, like I said earlier, you can block the door with this and then pull out Sheila and then shoot them. So if you know you're going after an experienced player or a sweat and they don't know your Rampart, maybe just go in with Sheila. But if you can tell they kind of suck, feel free to put that up as a added precaution. But usually when you put up a wall, that warns them, hey, this is a Rampart. I need to get out of here, because they could potentially mow me down with Sheila. So if you want to keep the surprise, just pull this out and immediately blow down the door. But if you're feeling like you need the added precaution, put that down, then blow down the door. But that is my main tips with Sheila itself. Now, with Rampart, she is very situational, and the only way you're going to know how to utilize her abilities correctly and in the correct moments is by playing her. You're going to feel it out, you're going to learn it, and by watching experienced Rampart players gameplay. Then you see when they use the walls, when they use Sheila, and how they use it. And that is my number one tip with all of these tips combined, is to watch experienced Rampart players and just play Rampart. Rampart is very frustrating to get really good with when you first play her, and that's why a lot of people think she sucks, but she is nowhere near as bad as people say, especially in pubs. But in ranked, especially in this Catalyst meta, we see pro teams and ALGS players using her right now, and that means she has to be good to some degree, and she's a counter, so she's already good in the meta. So don't be afraid to play Rampart. You may catch some flack, but the great thing about it is that everyone automatically underestimates you, and you can punish them for that by just absolutely destroying them. But I hope this guide helped you guys out. Please leave a like, pop a sub, comment down below. It would really mean a lot. I appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video, and feel free to watch any of my Rampart gameplays or subscribe for more Rampart content. I love you guys. I hope you guys are staying safe, and take it easy.